Hi. Permission to pause. That's what we're talking about today. Permission to pause embodies the fall season. So first, if you don't know me, my name is Jimena. Welcome to my channel. I am a mother, a mystic, a muse, a maker, a wife, married, I guess, the M, you know me in letters, a maniac. True confession. I am a total maniac. Blessed be those that choose to live with me. So welcome. Permission to pause. It is fall season. In the northern hemisphere, fall season. In the southern hemisphere, spring season. But I want to talk about pausing today and about granting ourselves permission. Permission after the harvest. Permission after we have given, after we have grown, after we have blossomed, after we have birthed, after we have created and been in that co-creating mix of summers, sazon, there comes fall. There comes that moment when you start to feel the wind. And this weekend, Gemini full moon, Gemini is an air sign. So just think like of the winds that start to come in the fall season. Obviously in the northern hemisphere, easier, or the winds and the rains in the southern hemisphere, or however it is that you live it, where it is that you live. But just think, the embodiment of fall is that sound, that wind that you hear, the air element that starts to just like allow you to exhale, where you don't have to like inhale so hard and push so hard and do the thing. I'm not saying you should be pushing that hard anyway, but you know what I'm talking about. It's the permission to pause. It's the permission to know that all is perfect in divine timing. That has grown will continue to blossom and feed, and then it will go into our bodies. It will be digested and it will come out and it will feed the earth. The same thing happens in nature. The things fall away from the branches. They fall into the earth. The earth takes them in. And she's, in a way, if we see, it's like, thank you. It's the thanking that happens naturally through the seasons. The seasons. And when I talk about seasons, actually, I love to talk about the internal seasons. And I have this course, this self-paced course that you can look in the description below if you'd like to purchase it. It's called Solo Sanctuary Spa. And it came about through a season of mine where I was going through soul journeying, and I called it Solo Sanctuary Spa because the soul, our soul, takes us on a solo journey. It is an inward, intimate in-sourcing of our own sovereignty. And there's 4 sacred themes in this course. It's silence, it's simplicity, it's satiation, and surrender. So knowing that when we pause, when we grant ourselves the permission to pause, we start to create this field where we can feel and simplify our lives. We can say, what can I now, in fall season, what can I now begin to simplify, let go of, and just reframe internally, or actually change externally in my life? What do I need to clean up? What do I no longer need to be in participation in that way? What can I do to support the cleanup of this cycle? Because energetically, it's also going to be cleaning up. So let's just take a couple of exhales. Thanking the wind element, air element, our voice, our magical vessel, Gemini being that magical vessel in the zodiac that actually is the messenger of the divine. Hello, I actually have a little mystic messenger, Gemini sun. So I know this sign very personally. When I left the house, he was singing and almost couldn't turn off his radio station because he's not supposed to turn off his radio station. So those that live with him have to understand that his wind, his air element is always open. And yes, we ask him, yes, could you please close the little radio station just a little, but you get it. Wind does its thing. It like purifies. It allows things to move out of the way. So he's always open because wind is always coming. So what can we grant ourselves permission in this fall season? What would you like to grant yourself permission? What pressures can you take away? Pressures of being perfect, pressures that we put on our beloved partners, our beloved children, pressures that we still keep tied with our relationship with our parents, one or both, or our lineage, our karmic lineage, what they didn't do, what they should have done, what they didn't even think of doing. So all of those pressures, can we actually grant them permission to be released? So let's take a little moment to prayer time. It's a portal where we grant our prayer permissions. They're so potent. When we pray, it actually reminds us that we are the living, breathing prayer. It's actually the way for our body to actually become open, porous, open to receive all of the potent information that wants to be penetrated from all of the particles, from all that is magical, divine, and is waiting for us to be in that sacred interconnected mix with. So let's close with a little prayer. And before we close, if you want to contact me, you just have curiosity about the Solo Sanctuary Spa or any of my other course descriptions, either the self-paced or Mamamorphosis, our 10-month sacred divine transformation sanctuary for mother and women mystics, let me know. I'd love to answer any questions that you have. So let's end with this prayer. God, may I remember that when I go within, when I go inside, and I remember in my own insourcing of my sovereignty, I am reminded of the potency that exists in prayer and in the miracles that come when I surrender that which I think that I need or do not need and want to manipulate in a certain way, and I forget once again. One of our basic loving with so much compassionate curse that we own have as humans is the forgetting. We forget over and over again. So may I remember to pause and just be in curiosity of prayer. If I don't know how to pray, I just take a breath and allow silence to speak. And I call that soul songs. When silence speaks through our soul, it actually makes soul songs. May I allow myself the grace to know that I don't have to judge this season, all of the things that I could have done, that I didn't do, or that I wanted to do, or that I wanted other people to do. May I take a moment to just release my inner judge who wants to judge myself and who wants to judge others. Again, may I grant myself permission to pause. To remember that all is also working in continuation. The mystery of life is always working with us to gift us that we need. So since we are at the end of fall season, or at the end of summer season, of spring season for some, which is the opposite. It's actually the budding of life. It's actually the starting, the desire and the conception coming into a beautiful growing season that tickles the fancy of wanting to participate in more. So wherever we are in our seasons, just remembering, especially if we are in a fall season, to pause, to grant ourselves permission to pause so we can take in the penetrating prayers that want to be professed, not perfected, but professed through us in order to grant gifts not only for ourselves, but for others. And remembering that each season has its own perfect gifts. So rather than pushing away and wanting to run to the next season, or judging why we are in a specific season in our life, if we're feeling really dry and stuck and confused, depressed, dark, moody, or if we're feeling creative and joy-filled and connected and movement forward, rather than jumping into the next season, let's take this week, which is the end of this time before we move into the winter or the summer seasons, to actually pause and say our thank yous. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Let me know if you have any questions, any comments, if any of you all are actually living a fall season, or if you're actually internally in another season. Share with us, because what I've noticed in my own internal journey through the last decade and more, but especially in this last decade, I noticed how in the first years when I was becoming more aware of insourcing my own sovereignty, how I definitely was not in alignment with the nature's seasons. And the more I became at ease and at peace and in love with my own nature in all of the seasons within my own nature, I became more aligned with nature itself. Magic. So sometimes internally we're not matching the external season that's happening. So if you want to share what season you're in, what is creating pressure, or what you want to release as pressure, share it in the comments below. I'd love to hear. And if you'd like to work with me, reach out. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Mwah.